So recently, there's been a huge boom in the new development and expansion of golf courses at some of the most famous golf resorts out there, and for good reason. We're seeing golf trips and golf travel just absolutely skyrocket, and some of these resorts are booked up not only for months, but now for years. So it's exciting for us as golfers looking for new trips, new destinations, or to revisit some of our favorite golf destinations and seeing now that they've got a whole lot more to offer. And we're really starting to see some of these designers even push the envelope a bit further than what we've seen before. In fact, one of the courses we're going to talk about here, Mike, on this list requires you to sign a waiver before you're even allowed to take a cart out there. And they're calling this particular one what might be the most fun par 3 golf course in the world.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so there's some great stuff there. But on top of that, we're also seeing some really legendary and top tier designers getting their hands into some properties that are already world renowned. So we're seeing an incredible amount of growth. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to run through some of those. In fact, we're going to talk about 5 properties that are incredibly exciting to us, all of which are either opening in 2025 or are starting the bulk of the build in 2025 and opening shortly thereafter. So a whole lot to get into. Before we do, of course, I want to thank this week's sponsor, Titleist. And guys, if you haven't hit the Titleist GT driver, you have not hit the best driver of 2025. And these are incredible. It's something you have to feel. What you can do now, there are 4 different heads. You've got the 4 different GT heads. The best thing that I can give you guys as advice, if someone who's done it myself, is to go through and schedule a fitting. What we saw is far more consistent ball speed than we've ever seen before, and that comes from very consistent spin, super fast off the face. We're also seeing so many tour players who are putting one of the GT models into play, and for good reason. They are fantastic. It's something, like I said, you really have to see to believe. We even had the opportunity when we were out in TPI in California to speak with some of the designers and see what went into making these heads. Brand new materials, brand new, a complete overhaul, brand new manufacturing process, and some of the new things that they've done of the years of R&D that have gone into this head. So go and check them out for yourselves. Like I said, you got to experience. It's a whole new class of drivers, the new Titleist GT, and the best way to experience it is to go out there and get fit. All right. So diving into this, Mike, some of these we've had some firsthand experience with. Other ones, of course, we're going to get to. There's at least one on this list where we will be in just a couple of months. So you guys know one of the things we like to do here on the show, come back, tell you guys all about it. But right now, some of these are in that just initial groundbreaking, but we're going to see them coming online really soon, and we're really stoked about it.
Well, one thing you said before, you talked about pushing the envelope, how these builders, these designers are doing these. We've got like firsthand experience of even back when Cabot Citrus Farm just opened, it showed you that course designers no longer need a big enough land they don't need 18 anymore. Case in point was the squeeze. They literally squeezed that little routing of par 3s and par 4s into whatever land they had left. And I don't think anyone complains about it. They're going to Cabot. They got those 2 huge 18-hole courses. They got this, they got that, they got everything they need to do. And we're seeing that pop up more and more. So now every golf course that's being made, whether it's a short course or a long course, it's like it's pumping us up for these trips because we don't care that it's 12 holes. Like you and I love that one at Cabot, Nova Scotia. Yeah. The Nest. It was just so much fun, and it didn't need to be like the full thing. But love a new course when it opens.
Yeah, and this is a trend that we're seeing, and for good reason. And I don't think that this trend, and this is something that's going to carry through here. We're going to talk about a few of them. Now, of course, there's some full 18-hole layouts, but there's some that are shorter. I don't think it's necessarily always a function of just like, oh, we'll have to live with less land. I think a lot of this is intentional. In fact, we've got one of them on the list that has been referred to as an afternoon course. And really what it does is it expands the way that we approach the game and the way that we play it in new and different ways by thinking outside the box and sometimes thinking it doesn't necessarily have to be an 18-hole course to be world renowned. So let's jump into the first one. I think it's also kind of one of the most sensational, visually stunning, no doubt. This is a course, like I said, that from initial reports and how much of this is PR and to build a buzz versus how much of it is the reality remains to be seen. But from what we're hearing out there is in order to take a cart on this particular course, you're going to have to sign some sort of waiver, effectively releasing any type of responsibility to the course if you were to get hurt. And the course course appropriately is named Cliffhangers. So it's
Okay.
going to be something that, if you think about that famous hole, the 19th hole Tiger designed at Paynes Valley, and you think about the cliffs that surround that green, well, this particular course, it's going to be at Big Cedar Lodge, and it's going to be built on that same property, and it's really going to weave its way through some of those very dramatic cliffs, including what look to be a couple of I don't want to say dicey because I'm sure they're safe, but visually dicey bridges that you'll be driving across. And I've heard some people refer to it as the most fun par 3 course in the world. And this is an offering that's being added to an already very robust location, Big
stacked.
Cedar Lodge. You've got Paynes Valley, Ozarks National, Buffalo Ridge, Top of the Rock, Mountaintop. I mean, I think what the general idea is, as these different, and we'll talk more about it, but as these different golf resort locations compete to be the next kind of hot spot, I think what a lot of golfers are after is finding a place where you can stay a full week and never really quite run out of golf by expanding. And I think adding this, I think they probably realized the draw that particular hole at Paynes Valley, that 19th hole, really brought in visually. You see it all over Instagram, and they figure, well, why not do a whole par 3 course like this?
Right. Yeah. No doubt. So that's coming this year?
Yep. So it's going to be opening in the summer of 2025. Now, this is, too, I think importantly, it's an 18-hole par 3 course. So I think a lot of times we think of them as being shorter, 9 holes, 12 holes. You're going to get a full 18 here. So it's adding a significant. This is not the afternoon course, but it is adding a significant, a lot more golf to Big Cedar.
Yeah, an already stacked itinerary. That's one of the places that you and I have to get out to. Even their driving range is one of the best in the business.
Oh yeah, Top of the Rock. Yeah. What they're saying here is they're saying that the course spans 50 acres of that cliffside terrain. And they know that you have a spot there where you're going to get dramatic elevation.
Yeah.
And the holes themselves will range from 60 to 165 yards. So true par 3 in that regard. But I would imagine with elevation, each one of those holes is going to play, even more dramatic when you put into the cliffs.
I mean, they're smart with that because, with this oversaturation of golf trips, and like you said, they're booking out for years. Buddies, I feel like they not only want to go and play great golf, but they want like that picturesque golf. They want to take their camera out and they want to go to places that no one's ever been for, on a cliff, overlooking water. And I love that these are popping up. I mean, that sounds awesome. I may back away from the cliffs one. You could do that one, but you know me with heights, but I'm sure it's awesome.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't pass it up because you even think about it when you're kind of designing not only the trip, like, hey, we already got it nailed down that we're going to take a trip out to Big Cedar Lodge. Then you think, what is that day going to look like, that day itinerary? And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a tough one to beat when you think you could play Paynes Valley in the morning, and then right afterwards, your adjacent course will be Cliffhangers.
Yeah.
So imagine, or go vice versa, warm up with 18 holes, par 3 at Cliffhangers, and then go play Paynes Valley.
Yeah, that's an awesome day.
I think that's going to be one that's going to be very talked about. You're going to hear more and more people saying like that is the itinerary to hit. And like I said, on this, as far as the list goes, it's one of the ones that is opening the soonest, with opening this summer. Now, moving over, this is another one that I think we just started discussing earlier, the idea of thinking of golf in a different way, not just this, it's either an 18-hole full course or it's a par 3 course. What is that middle ground, and what is that going to mean? And I think one that's going to get a lot of attention, it's going to be the new course at Arcadia Bluffs. It's going to be called The Dozen.
Yeah.
So The Dozen, interestingly, is a 12-hole course, but not just 12 in a way that it just kind of stops there. They've actually specifically designed it as 2 6-hole routings. So that, I think, will give a lot of options as far as time and things like that go, whether you want to play, one of the 6 or if you want to play the full dozen. But you're going to have the north and the south loops. And basically what we're hearing is that the idea and the concept behind this is going to be a full course design incorporated into a 12-hole format. So I love that idea. Like, how do you make it feel like a full course in less than 18 holes? And I think that this is one that we're going to see a lot of eyeballs on, and we're going to see if this, and as you said before, the squeeze at Cabot Citrus, which we got to play in a similar type of format, if these start to gain attention, look for a lot more of these to come to fruition, because I think it does a couple of things. One, it offers, if some of these resorts are limited on physical space where they physically can't put an 18-hole course in, it gives them that option. Additionally, there's always the discussion, the ongoing discussion of sustainability that comes in. And I would imagine a 12-hole course is just less resource heavy, more sustainable. True. But thinking of it in another way, and not just as a constrained way, think of it as a way of just presenting an additional option for golfers. I would imagine, like, let's say you're traveling as part of your vacation and you're bringing some non-golfers or some real beginners who are not ready yet to take on an 18-hole course, but want to experience some par threes, want to experience some par fours. This is a great opportunity to bring them out there. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
These are those more casual rounds. Additionally, if you're squeezed on time, I mean, that's why they call it at Citrus the squeeze. Here with the dozen, I would imagine, hey, we're gonna play 18. We don't have enough daylight to get 36 in, but we're going to squeeze in the dozen before dinner. It gives us this bonus golf feeling where it just kind of keeps going. And then I've even thought of it and heard plenty of people discussing it this way. It creates a great way to settle like a match. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're tied through 18 on one of the holes, and he's like, hey, we're going to settle it tomorrow on the dozen and play 12 more holes. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's going to be one of the biggest trends that we see in golf going forward.
No doubt.
Are these 12-ish hole courses.
Yeah, no doubt. And they make sense. And I think guys like us, when we go on these trips, we love the full 18 holes, but we also love a good down day. Some of them went hard the night before. We only got the dozen tomorrow, and then sitting by the pool before our next round of 18. And by the way, I just got to let you know that I feel like Arcadia Bluffs is my number one bucket list, I think, trip. And it's like your Sand Valley.
Yeah, Sand Valley.
And it's funny that
for me.
Wisconsin and Michigan, it's not even like California or Florida. Like, it's right in the middle of the country here. So a lot of good golf out there, and I hope we get out to both of those. I'd love to check out that
well, I'm going to level it up even more. If this is something that, if it's your kind of bucket list, not only are they building the dozen, but you're also going to be there's also going to be building 4 separate cottages on that specific property. It's also going to have its own clubhouse. It's going to be a very vibey, chill.
No way.
And the cool thing about that is it offers an additional stay at Arcadia Bluffs, but you can stay at the dozen, and it's going to be with only 4 total cottages on that property. It's going to be very private. It's going to be like a very chill, laid back spot. But what I love about the dozen, on each of the the routings of the they're calling it the north and the south loops, the 6-hole loops. On each one, you get a perfect mix of 3 par 3s and 3 par 4s.
Oh, nice.
Which I like. So this is going to be like a really right in that wheelhouse kind of zone. But the 4 cottages, each one, get this, they got 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and they say great views of the dozen.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the perfect spot, if you ask me, for a foursome.
Yep.
Head out there. Everybody gets a bedroom. Everybody gets a bathroom. You're right on the dozen.
Oh, we got to do it.
That's kind of hard to beat.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Okay. Put that on the list.
So that one's on the list. Now, one that has already been on our list and one that we've already checked out, and this one's really exciting. Opening, and I should have said before, I want to give you guys open dates. The dozen scheduled to open this summer as well, July 2025. So not a lot of weight left in most of these.
Yeah.
The other one that there's very little weight left in is at the McLemore Resort, The Keep. Now, this is one we've had firsthand experience of. We got to do some preview play there in November of last year. This one has been open for preview play, so there's been some rounds put in. I will say when we played it, it was absolutely stunning to see. Not quite grown in yet. A lot of like the grasses, we had a chance to talk to some of the grounds crew there, and they're saying, over time this thing's going to grow in and it's going to look more cohesive.
Yep.
We always know that when we're doing preview play that there's a certain degree of that you have to understand, but it's looking at that routing. And what's so incredible, you're on top of Lookout Mountain there, and building off the success of the Highlands course, which is at the McLemore, where you had that famous 18th hole that plays right up against, the edge of the mountain and just absolutely stunning views. And that became like an inspiration where how can we do more of this, and enter the Keep, which has, I believe it's 6 holes that play along the cliffside directly,
like literally
along it. But It's a wide open course on the top of a mountain. You're exposed to the wind. You're going to get those incredible elements up there. But I think the way that they open this up, the vistas there are absolutely stunning, and you have the views from all 18 holes. There's not a hole out there where you can't realize and see you are on the top of a mountain.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most incredible experiences of my life, and I think this place is going to fill up quickly, I'm sure, because they've got 2 courses, including the one we're talking about right now, and they have their own short course, and I think they've got everything they need for a trip there. So you guys have to check out the Keep. I mean, it's funny. I'll put you on the spot real quick. We just got back from Arizona. So desert golf, mountain golf, or like Whistling Straits on the water golf? What do you pick?
Oh, I'm always a water guy.
You're always a water guy.
No doubt about it.
Those mountain views at the Keep.
I just personally,
insane.
I love playing at the beach. I love that.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, and I said this while we were out there playing it, interestingly, although we were nowhere near the ocean, when we were playing the Keep, I remember saying, it just feels like we're at Kapalua or something, right? Because you had the elevation, and although you weren't looking out over water, water doesn't physically come into play in that regard. You still have incredible views. You're looking out over that vast expanse of the valley below.
Right.
But just the way that it played very similar to me to a lot of ocean courses and oceanside courses, because you got the everyday, day in, day out breeze. My all-time favorite course is the ocean course at Kiowa. There you're getting 15 to 20 mile an hour winds every day. It's not an outlier. Outlier days are 40 mile an hour winds, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here. Wind is going to play a factor every single day. So my personal preference, I love looking at the water. That's just for a view standpoint, but playability, it's interesting how similarly they really do
Absolutely.
play.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we got 2 more, and they're both at incredibly famous resorts, one of which we're going to be heading to in just a few months. So I want to dive into those in just a second, but let's do a break there. Let's do a word from our sponsor.
All right, guys. FootJoy still leads the golf footwear category with having some of the best styles in the game, whether it's their classy Premier Series that we absolutely love, to even their brand new Hyperflex, which drops literally this week. FootJoy has you covered. We had the Hyperflex out in the desert last week in Arizona. Awesome colors, the traction, the stability, everything about that shoe, how it was designed, super impressive. So check that out. And even off course, I love about the off course shoes, whether you're on a golf trip, you're playing a short course, and you just want to chill, hang out, the Flexes have you covered. And also the MyJoys, which you can customize yourself. So you name it, they've got it. Go visit footjoy.com and gear up now. The season is actually right around the corner. So it's time to get those fresh pair of golf shoes while you can.
All right, so continuing this trend, 12-hole golf courses.
Yeah.
Coming to where my personal bucket list, which we're finally going to be able to check off the list this summer, we're headed out to Sand Valley. And what they're going to be opening there soon, which we are very hopeful to play as preview play, in which case, if we get a chance to play it, of course, we're going to report back to you guys in even more detail, having boots on the ground at that point. This is a course that is going to be built, and they're currently in the process of building through 2025, and I believe its official open is 2026. But this is the Commons, which is going to be added to Sand Valley. And really, again, another example of a great 12-hole course.
Yep.
And the intent. You got to think about that intent there. You think Sand Valley, you think about big beast golf courses, tough golf courses, Sand Valley, Mammoth Dunes, Sedge Valley, the Lido. And this was really meant, and this is one that has been so referred to as the afternoon course, a kind of a way to kind of still enjoy golf, unwind a bit after taking on some of the bigger courses there. I think it was Golf Digest or one that had said it's a course that can be played in a couple hours after having tackled one of the resort's brawnier layouts. I love the way that's put. And like I said, a lot of have referred to it as an afternoon course. This one's going to be designed by Jim Craig. It's going to include par threes, par fours. You're going to get some classic design elements like a Redan green on a par three out there. And it's just the incredible land that is Sand Valley. So I'm really excited to see this. And I'm just so glad in a lot of ways that we have, unintentionally, because we've been desiring to get there, but been putting off our trip to Sand Valley, just been busy with other obligations, just to the right time where we're going to be able to line it up with hopefully getting out there and playing the Commons.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out that way. That has been a popular buddies trip for a while now. Even in our Discord server, the guys are always talking about Sand Valley, and even a couple of the guys are scheduled to go out there. So it's becoming huge. I can't wait to get out there, and it is courses like that I love. I love courses like that. They're becoming my favorite. The short, the relax, the hang.
Yeah, and
the baths in Kohler, same vibe.
It's true. And this one, what I like though, at these 12s, I got to keep separating them from the par 3 course.
Yes.
They are still robust. You're talking about 4,000 yards over 12 holes.
Yep.
So it's got a much different feel than those super short par 3 courses. You really still get the chops of golf, and in a lot of ways. And I think, like I said, it just becomes that great tack on to what's already an epic day. You think about, hey, we're playing Mammoth Dunes in the morning. That would be a day enough for me.
Yeah.
Now you're tacking on the commons after it, and it's just it becomes a day you can't forget. And I think that's the intention of a lot of these resorts. Is you think a lot of guys like us, we're planning golf trips for years in advance.
Yeah.
And you have, the little golf group chat is lighting up. Everyone's getting stoked for that trip. And then you start to put this itinerary together, and you really want to design something that's going to be, lives up to the hype and is as memorable as you want it to be, like something you're remembering for years, and being able to have these where, there's certain times of the year, daylight wise, you may not even be able to put the full 36 in, or maybe you just don't have the energy to do it. Here you're able to put 12 more holes in, and it just levels it up completely.
It's awesome.
So incredible. Now, the kind of last one that we saved on the list, and this is a place that I think it creates, for us and for lots of people, and even speaking the same, we can see personally this because we've been there, but even the other ones, places like Sand Valley and Big Cedar Lodge, it creates a reason to go back. I think the addition of new courses creates that reason to say, hey, let's revisit it. Let's go back and play all of our favorite courses and add on this brand new one.
We did that at Pinehurst last summer.
Exactly.
Yep.
With number 10.
Yep.
So here we're talking about Streamsong. What Streamsong has going for it there is they have an abundance of really great land.
They do.
They do. And I think one thing that until you get there, and we've done an entire episode on Streamsong, you guys definitely check that out. We've done a lot of stuff on our main channel about it. I think what was so important for us to get there and experience it was when you actually get on the grounds there, you realize just how dramatic of a piece of land it is. Even a place like the Black Course, looking at pictures alone make it seem relatively flat. And until you get there, you don't realize just how much elevation is in that course.
Right.
And it feels like, especially with the dunes of the red and the blue, it feels like anywhere but Florida.
It does.
And if you think, here's another example of how the game can take a piece of land that was transformed by the mining industry, and how can we take that leftover? The mining has since left. How can we take that and make it into something that's the land is still very viable, it's very usable, because otherwise that land really isn't. It's in the middle of nowhere. But that's a great thing. The beauty of some of these legendary architects is they see that and they'd be like, wow, this is something I can really do something
they
with.
could sink their teeth into it, right?
Exactly. So you're going to get that with this new course. It's going to be the 5th course. Now this one, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Looks like play will start officially in the fall of 2026. They're breaking ground as we speak in 2025. No names for this particular course yet. Everyone knows it's going to be a color. I think most people's bet's on white.
I was thinking
the
gold.
White course. Gold course.
I don't know. I was thinking where they got red, blue, and black.
Yep.
And those are traditional tee box colors, right? No.
These, well, actually, you know what? It makes me think might not be white. Those were originally named based on the pen color that the guys used.
Yes.
So
there was a story back there.
Yeah, I mean those are the most standard pen colors. I guess a white pen wouldn't make much sense unless you're writing on black. Black,
maybe.
You guys let us know in the comments. Guess what the name of this course is going to be. But what's really interesting is that they've got David McKay Kidd. Who's going to be designing this course, which then puts Streamsong in a very exclusive group. I think it is now the only resort in the country that can boast, a Hans, Core Crenshaw, Doak, and Kidd. I don't think anyone else has that. And now it's just like if you become a real architecture buff, it's like, hey, I can knock off playing, pretty much all of the legendary living architects in one place.
Yeah, right.
So really cool stuff. So I'm just looking at like the exact location of this. So it looks like it's going to be situated near the black course. Until we got our actual, got to the location and realized how close they really were, the blue and the black. In fact, you can see the black course, I think from the red. The red, the blue, and the black.
Yeah, you can see it.
The red and the blue are right on top of each other. And this is just going to be between that. So just a quick background, if you're not like a kind of an architecture guy, some of the other courses that Kid has done before, Bandon Dunes, TBC Stonebray, Gamble Sands, Mammoth Dunes, and now he's going to have a Streamsong course, which is absolutely incredible. And I just kind of pulled up this quote from Kid that I thought really kind of spoke to like that area and the land. He said, "I happen to think that the site we're working on is as good as the blue and red. It's got big dunes, lots of diverse shapes, water, big uphill and downhill holes. It's much more like the red course. That's any architect's dream. If you're starting with a site that's already a 7, 8, or a 9 out of 10, it makes your life so much easier."
I bet.
And I think there's even one hole I briefly was reading this somewhere. He's calling it like the Gill or the Hance Flats, because there's a certain spot on that location where you have another excavated area where Gill had excavated that area to use some sand to bring over to black. And I think he's going to like kind of leave that and work around it, which is really interesting.
That is cool, yeah.
Because it then becomes 4 sets of very different designers with very different design styles, but kind of a cohesiveness that works across all of them in the way that they kind of handshake each other in that way, using the same land or seeing how guys use that land slightly differently or leftovers from one to the other.
Yeah. I mean, that's so cool. And it makes me think remember pre-COVID, there was there's like a massive shift. There was golf courses closing down to build houses left and right. Now COVID, the golf boom and resorts are filling up. They have 2-year wait lists. They're building courses everywhere. I mean, we're seeing it right before our eyes. It's how big and crazy it's getting.
There's no doubt. I mean, this is certainly a litmus test of the overall health of the game.
Yeah,
when you're
no
seeing
doubt.
this investment, and it's a wise investment, as you mentioned. I mean, look at when Bandon Dunes moved to a lottery system to even try to get there. I think that's when a lot of these other resorts were like, hey, this is super viable. If you can do this the right way, I think Bandon in a lot of ways will be always looked at as a tone setter of just showing what could be done when you put like world-class golf together into a destination that's so desirable, a land that's so desirable. And now these other places are like, let's expand and kind of, I don't want to say follow that model because they've had their own success with their own models, but if for us as golfers, it becomes great that we've got more and more options that if if one place is overbooked, it doesn't feel like second tier.
Exactly.
They all feel like their own unique destinations and a lot of times visiting at different times of the year. Like for us coming from New York and New Jersey, we'll escape the winter and go down to Streamsong, but then spend, a nice summer trip at Sand Valley or Arcadia Bluffs. Like it gives you different regions and different times to kind of really experience these things. And I think it's fantastic for the game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so those are 5, brand new additions to already legendary locations that we're super excited about. If you have any that you're excited about checking out, or if you're going to be checking any of these out firsthand yourself, if you've got a trip booked, let us know about it in the comments. We love to hear about it, and we will keep an eye on this stuff closely. We've got some great trips coming up, and when we get there and we're experiencing these things firsthand, we'll continue to bring them to you guys here so you know exactly how to get the most out of your trip. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.